if this fight is a battle of the jabs, then Dubois wins hands down. He wins hands down, and he's got hits. In my opinion, hits just as hard as AJ. He's quicker than AJ. Dubois fights in combinations. He throws combinations in. You don't see AJ doing that anymore.
Daniel Dubois has a better jab than AJ. What are you talking about? Let's get into today's video. Now, I don't know how many people here watch TalkSport Boxing. I don't really like to watch it, but every so often it does pop up in my YouTube recommendations. Like, there's not a lot of people on that program that I don't know, respect the opinion of. I like Ade, and I feel like he's the only person there that makes sense. Obviously, you do have Spencer Oliver, but sometimes he chats a bit of nonsense. And you do also have Duke McKenzie, who, for the most part, does say some great things, but his description of this Dubois-AJ fight has been very curious. He said that he believes Dubois is going to win. He said he believes Dubois has a better jab than AJ. He believes he's faster than AJ, faster feet, and maybe he hits just as hard as AJ. I've got to refute some of those claims. Now, I've heard a couple things about Dubois' jab. I've seen a couple different people talk about Dubois' jab. And Dubois does have quite a fast jab, and some people describe it as a ramrod jab. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm seeing something that other people aren't, but maybe I'm not seeing something people are. But I wouldn't call his jab a ramrod jab, especially if you watch him in his Usyk fight, if you watch him even in Jarrell Miller's fight. I've got to rewatch that Hrgovic fight again, but he's very sharp with the jab. It's very fast, it's very, very explosive, but I don't necessarily see him putting body weight, bow, behind his jab every single time. I've got to rewatch it. Maybe I'm missing something. Anthony Joshua has a longer reach, and Anthony Joshua has a very good jab. So I don't really agree with the fact that Dubois' jab will be better. He's going to have to work to get on the inside to get his jab off against AJ. Something we noticed with Dubois is that when he's in his boxing stance, his elbows naturally flare quite a lot. I think because he's just quite wide in his upper lats. When he throws his jab, he doesn't throw it into traditional boxing mechanics of it from the proper place of the shoulder and back in. His elbow does flick and kind of flare a little bit, which kind of starts to cut off a little bit of range on your jab, and it also is a bit of a tell for your opponent. AJ's punches are especially his straight 1-2 down the pipe, textbook, absolutely perfect when he wants to throw it. Whereas Dubois, a lot of his shots are looping, and that includes his jab. So I think that Duke McKenzie is wrong on that one. I believe that AJ has a better jab. And in terms of the speed factor, now this one's a bit of a hard one. Now I believe that Dubois might naturally be, I don't know, like a faster heavyweight if it was just a competition of just throwing, I don't know, 100 light punches. But I believe that Anthony Joshua is a more explosive and athletic heavyweight, far more athletic. You watch AJ when he throws his punches, maybe not even the new version. Let's look at the older version of him throwing combos. Just the speed of how he throws his punches, the athleticism, how he talks into those punches. There's a different level of intensity to Dubois, and that also brings me on to Dubois having more power than AJ, or just as much. No, I'm just going to straight up say no. So we're going to talk about who has Dubois knocked out on any kind of world level. The answer, I'm going to just not even have to go into his box rec, is nobody. I mean knocked out cold. Now, you could say similar for AJ, but if we look at the world level opponents that he has stopped or he has put down, they've been explosive, destructive knockouts. It has not been the same for Dubois on world level. So we can look at his best performances. Let's look at them. Usyk, he lost that one. Didn't put Usyk down. That was not a body shot, it was a low blow. Sorry to burst some bubbles. Then he quit on a knee. So cool. So moving on to his best performances recently. So we look at Jarrell Miller. So Jarrell Miller obviously has a great chin. He was 100 pounds heavier. So that's where the props come from. It doesn't come from him being a world-class heavyweight, but it's a decent win. It's a good win because of the weight difference more than anything. Didn't put him down. Yes, he hurt him and he stopped. It was more because of fatigue on Jarrell Miller's part rather than actually being hurt, and also it was a bit of a late notice fight, so we can't really go for full props on Jarrell Miller fight. I do give him props, but he did not stop him. He was stopped on it. Then we move on to Filip Hrgovic. Now that fight was stopped on cuts, and some of those cuts were definitely done from headbutts. So once again, yes, like Hrgović looked very, very tired, like he was probably going to get stopped very soon, but it wasn't necessarily from just the punch power overwhelming him or him being hurt badly. It was from being headbutt. It was from, yes, being hit with big shots, but also not being very well conditioned. Hrgović looked absolutely knackered by the third round. So I don't know where this kind of myth of Dubois being the biggest knockout puncher have come from. Now, I know that some people have, sparred him and held pads. I think Lawrence Okoli did say that Dubois has more power, hits harder than AJ. And my issue with statements like that when it comes to sparring is maybe AJ is just a better sparring partner. Now, I've watched AJ spar. I've seen him sparring Joe Joyce. I've seen him sparring a few different people. And AJ's not going for 100%, at least in the footage I've seen anyway. He doesn't look like he's trying to hit you with 100% power. He looks like he's actually trying to work on his boxing skill, which is what sparring is supposed to be for. Obviously, he's naturally powerful, but he's not trying to hit you with crazy big bombs. Now, I've also seen footage of Daniel Dubois sparring, and it's the complete opposite. He is trying to get you out there, well, not necessarily get you out there, but there is a bit more of a thudding power every time, power shots, and keep coming forward and hit him and hurt him. So it just kind of, I don't know, I think it's little bit disingenuous. I do not believe that Dubois' power has really been tested. If he does come forward, I think obviously he's a very powerful boxer, but in terms of the same level as AJ, that will just be, I don't know, a bit of favoritism and a bit of a guess, because you can't really provide any evidence as to why that will be true. So, needless to say, I don't agree with Duke McKenzie. And it's very strange. Like, I feel like Duke was on the right side of things with the Usyk Fury talk. I believe he was anyway. But he seems to be like a lot of these opinions, they're not really formulated in any kind of evidence, which is, the textbook of what was happening during Fury Usyk. Very, very strange. Very, very strange. There's no evidence of Dubois being faster or more powerful. A better gas tank, possibly, because he just keeps coming forward. But the other two, no, definitely not. What do you think of those comments? What do you think of the fight? Let me know. It's fast approaching. Like, share, subscribe. See you soon. Peace.